Hello there, my friends, and welcome to a special Tuesday night podcast update of some news stories over the weekend. As it was just broadcasted on AWSM radio, this is the podcast version of said broadcast. Before we get started, as always, check out the links below in this post to help support the show. This time, NordVPN to protect your computer from viruses and other things out there that would just break your computer. And of course, as always, check out socialbee.io for all of your social media posting needs. Links below, check them out. Okay, let's get started with this special Tuesday night news update.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand by for a special news broadcast from Colt Sebastian Taylor here on AWSM Radio.
Yes, my friends, it's me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, adventurer, entrepreneur, and amateur Tuesday night broadcaster. Welcome to a special news edition here on Tuesday. I don't even have a name for this segment, but I'm here Tuesday to give you the latest news. A lot happened over the weekend, and AWSM Radio didn't want me to wait till Saturday to give you an update, so I'm here on Tuesday to let you know some big news, some big things happened over the weekend that you might have missed. If you did, I'd be surprised, but you might have missed. But I had to bring it to you here today on Tuesday. But first, just in case you've wandered off the street, this is AWSM Radio. We are an independent digital-only radio station that plays today's best music, old school classics, along with a rotating cast of all-star DJs. We focus on mainstream artists, independent artists, along with a variety of interesting talk and music shows throughout the day. All we do is entertain, inspire, and inform. And my friends, I'm here on Tuesday. But before I start, I want to give a special shout out to my friend Ray Reese, who is the voice, the dulcet voice that you hear at the start of every show. Rush Order recorded that very special for me. Thank you very much, Ray. All right, let's get started with this special Tuesday edition of It's Not Quite Yet the Saturday Report. So maybe like the Tuesday Report, bonus Tuesday Report. I don't have a name for it. I'm going to workshop it sometime after this broadcast. First up this Tuesday, my friends, big news over the weekend. The death of legendary icon reporter Barbara Walters was announced at the age of 93. Yes, 93 years old. Barbara Walters, longtime ABC news anchor and correspondent, pretty much broke the glass ceiling for female reporters and female hosts in the news industry way back when. A career spanning decades upon decades. Her death was announced by the CEO of the Walt Disney Company, Bob Iger, who owns ABC. He released a statement saying, Barbara was a true legend, a pioneer not just for women in journalism, but for journalism itself. She was a one-of-a-kind reporter who landed many of the most important interviews of our time, from heads of state to the biggest celebrities and sports icons. I had the pleasure of calling Barbara a colleague for more than 3 decades, but more importantly, I was able to call her a dear friend. She will be missed by all of us, the Walt Disney Company, and by all of us at the Walt Disney Company, and we send our deepest condolences to her daughter, Jacqueline. Her career, Barbara Walters, spanned 5 decades, 50 years. She won 12 Emmys, 11 of those while working at ABC News. Now, in her later career, she was also a host of The View, which is a very popular morning show with many different people, including Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, numerous other people. She made her final appearance there in 2014, but remained to be the executive producer of the show and did occasional interviews and specials for ABC News. She was born in 1929 to Dina and Lou Walters. Her father worked in show business, as a booking agent and nightclub producer. Discovered the comedians Fred Allen and Jack Haley, who would go on to star as the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz. A little trivia there for you. She grew up around celebrities that taught young Barbara a lesson that she relied on throughout her career. Quote, I would see them on stage looking one way, and off stage often looking very different. I would hear my parents talk about them and know that even though those performers are very special people, they were also human beings with real life problems. I have respect and admiration for famous people, but I have never had a sense of fear or awe. So she got her start. She got her start in 1961, becoming a writer for NBC. After she graduated the Sarah Lawrence College in Bronxville, New York in the 1950s, she became the program's first female co-host in 1974, where she won her first Emmy following the following year for Outstanding Talk Show Host. She said, no one was more surprised than I. I wasn't beautiful like many of the women on the program before me. I had problem pronouncing my R's. She was very well known for her very specific way that she talked. In 1976, became the first female co-host on the ABC Evening News, along with Harry Reasoner. Her first broadcast was on October 4th, 1976, where she scored an exclusive interview with Earl Butz, who had just resigned as President Gerald Ford's Secretary of Agriculture after he revealed he told a racist joke. Go figure. She also conducted a satellite interview with Egyptian President Anwar Sadat on his plans to end his country's fighting with Lebanon. She had many, many different interviews with people around the world, from Vladimir Putin to Sadat to Prime Minister Begin. She also interviewed Fidel Castro after the Bay of Pigs invasion. She had interviewed many, many different people. Upon his death Castro's death in 2016, Walters released a statement saying the dictator had called her to interviews with him fiery debates. She also asked Vladimir Putin if he had ever ordered anyone to be killed, and he said, unsurprisingly, no. She interviewed many, many different presidents throughout the years, including Ronald Reagan, George Bush, both George Bushes, all sorts of people, Nixon, Obama, Melania Trump, Donald Trump. She interviewed many different celebrities, many different people throughout the years, including in 1999, 74 million people watched her interview with Monica Lewinsky about her affair with then President Bill Clinton. Towards the end of the interview, Walters asked Lewinsky, "What will you tell your children when you have them?" Which she replied, "Mommy made a big mistake," to which he said, "That's the understatement of the year." She started The View, which is her other sort of late career activity. She started The View with the original hosts was Star Jones, Joy Behar, Meredith Vieira, Debbie Menelopoulos, and of course, Barbara Walters. She was honored in 2001 with a wax portrait in Madame Tussauds in New York City and the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2007. After 25 years in television, she was inducted to the Television Academy's Hall of Fame in 1989, presented with the award by Peter Jennings, who was then the anchor, and senior editor of ABC's World News Tonight. And then in May 2014, a part of ABC's world headquarters in New York was renamed the Barbara Walters Building. During the ceremony, Walters said, "People ask me, what is your legacy? And it's not the interviews with presidents, heads of states, or celebrities. If I have a legacy, and I've said it before, and I mean it sincerely, I hope I played a small role in paving the way for so many of you fabulous women." So, Barbara Walters, the tributes just coming in throughout the world about her. When she passed away, many, many different people were calling in. There was breaking news on ABC, CNN, NBC. Most news channels broke into their regular programming to talk about her passing. Obviously, ABC News had more extensive breaking news content than other locations, but everyone pretty much broke the news, breaking into broadcasting, saying that she had passed away this past Friday, late Friday night. Obviously, that's why I did not make my cut on Saturday. She was a amazing news anchor that inspired many women and paved the way for many women to enter the news broadcast industry. And when she retired, The View surprised her with about 20 or so women, including Katie Couric, Connie Chung, all sorts of people coming in to thanking her for all the work that she has done. So once again, Barbara Walters, news icon at ABC News, passed away at the age of 93. A very long life, well lived. Moving on, another major passing over the weekend. Pope Benedict XVI, the former head of the Catholic Church, also passed away this weekend at the age of, I believe, 95. Yes, 95 years old. Now, Pope Benedict was the first German pope in many hundreds of years, following Pope John Paul II being the first non-Italian pope in many hundreds of years. Took over as Pope of the Catholic Church in 2005 after Pope John Paul II passed away, and then shocked the world as being the first pope in over 600 years to resign, to step down as the head of the Catholic Church in February 2013, where he retired to Papal Gardens to live out the rest of his life, saying he didn't quite have the physical endurance to remain as Pope, and so he thought it would be better if he stepped down and let someone with more energy take over. Since then, he would be well known as Pope Emeritus, which is a term that was kind of made up for him, but has some precedent in it. But he was Pope from 2005 to 2013, and then spent the next 10 years in retirement. His health had been failing for a while now, and earlier in the week, Pope Francis had asked people to pray for him and whatnot, but he did eventually pass away this past weekend. Originally known as Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, he was Pope John Paul II's kind of right-hand man for many years during his papacy, but took over after Pope John Paul II passed, and then, like I said, resigned, and then ended up being technically two popes. The last pope that resigned 600 years ago did so to end a schism in the Catholic Church that was threatening civil war at the time, so he resigned, and another pope took over. Obviously, a much different situation here, but pretty unprecedented at the time. However, with his resignation, there may be two popes again, as Pope Francis has said that Pope Benedict opened the door for other popes to step down as they got older, to let younger, more energetic cardinals take over the position. Pope Benedict was born in Germany. He was a German pope. Was in the Hitler Youth during World War II, which was a source of a lot of friction, perhaps, between Catholic and the Jewish community. Though, at the time, World War II, if you were in the youth, you're more likely probably going to be in the Hitler Youth as it was. He was known for a very conservative take on the Catholic Church and its teachings. Was not the media darling that Pope John Paul II was, or even Pope Francis. Did not travel all over the world. Had a very conservative take on the church and the teachings, to the point where some of the current cardinals and Catholic Church officials somewhat miss the old days, quote unquote, of Pope Benedict compared to Pope Francis, who has much more liberal outlook, as liberal as the Catholic Church is, towards their teachings as well. In his retirement, he wrote a few books, published a few letters, but pretty much did not make waves being a retired pope. He did, however, beautify his predecessor in record time, making Pope John Paul a saint. 1.5 million people came to Rome in 2011 to witness John Paul move a step closer to sainthood. And then Pope Francis finished the job in 2014 when he canonized Pope John Paul II along with Saint John the 23rd as saints. Benedict attended the ceremony, creating a never-before-seen moment of two popes honoring two dead popes. However, with that said, Pope Benedict's legacy is a bit to be taken into context due to the Catholic Church sex abuse scandal that pretty much erupted around the globe in 2010. Even though he was in charge of turning the Vatican around on the issue during Pope John Paul II's papacy, he was in charge and put a lot of reforms into place, but when they hit the news, he was the guy in charge, and so he got a lot of heat for that. And, so he had a very, very long life, spent entire his life dedicated to the Catholic Church. He was the head of the Congregation for Doctrine of the Faith since 1982. He was... then Cardinal Reiser took a revolutionary decision in 2001 to assume responsibility for the processing of those sex abuse cases when he realized bishops were not doing their job, so he took it over himself. Between 2004 and 2014, the Vatican defrocked 848 priests and then also sanctioned about 2,500 people to get tough approach to remove predators outright that went unmatched by Pope Francis. So he actually came down pretty hard on many, many different people. But again, he was tainted by that scandal as well. So, anyways, Pope Benedict passed away this past weekend. His funeral and ceremony, and there's a very specific way they bury popes, will be conducted this week. And now there will be only one pope. Well, there was two popes. Now there's one pope, Pope Francis. And will Pope Francis retire in the future? He has hinted that he has considered it and will consider it if he feels he cannot quite fill the role as pope. So, once again, Pope Benedict, head of the Catholic Church, first pope to retire in over 600 years, Pope Benedict XVI, passed away this week at the age of 95. Finally, the last bit of news in this very brief, not my usual length of show, Tuesday news update. Actor Jeremy Renner is in critical but stable condition this evening after a snow plowing accident. Yes, snow plowing accident out in the Reno, Nevada area. Reno getting a lot of snow. Probably say to yourself, how does that happen? Well, it wasn't like he was hit by a snowplow. Jeremy Renner lives out there in Reno, Nevada, gets a lot of snow, and he has one of those special snowplow tractors, like kind of looks like a kind of a tank with a snowplow in the front. Well, apparently, details aren't exactly clear what was going on, but apparently the tractor accidentally ran his leg over, causing massive blood loss. Authorities aren't exactly sure what happened there. A lot of these snow plows have safety features that should prevent that sort of accident, but he was pretty much ran over by a tank on his leg, causing massive bleeding, has extensive injuries. Fortunately, his neighbor is a doctor and was able to tourniquet the leg. Otherwise, he would have likely have bled out and died in this freak accident. And he was airlifted to a hospital. In the nearby area. A helicopter had to come out, land in snow, pick him up, and get him out of there. But he is stable, critical, but stable. A lot of different actors were calling in and putting out different messages of support. His co-anchor from the Hawkeye Disney Plus series was very upset by this, but looks like he'll be okay. But might take him quite a while to be fully back again. It looks like he suffered some pretty intense injuries from being basically run over by a tank. So He's lucky he isn't dead, but unfortunate accident, snow plowing, outside of his home, outside of Reno, Nevada. But he's receiving excellent care. The police have impounded the snowplow to examine it to see what exactly went wrong. Like I said, it has many safety features that, like a tractor. Like if you leave the seat of the tractor, a tractor normally shuts off. So if these things don't sense someone sitting there, it should not be able to move. So don't try to figure out what exactly happened there, whether something broke on the tractor, or he left a book bag on the seat that was as heavy as he was. Who knows? But police are investigating the exact nature of this accident. So hopefully he'll make a full recovery. Probably be a while. But I was just thinking the other day that Tracy Morgan, years ago, nearly died in a massive car accident. They didn't think he would ever wake up, or he may not come back again. But you know what? He's just as good now as he was back then. So I have high hopes that Jeremy Renner, a great actor, will be, well, so I like him. Some people might disagree with me on that statement, but I think he's a fine actor. I enjoy all of his work. Hurt Locker, great flick. Hawkeye in Marvel, fantastic. So you should really check out some of his movies and wish him well as he begins his long recovery. Okay, my friends, we're going to be wrapping up on this special Tuesday edition of the news. I need to come up with a clever name for it. Maybe bonus Tuesday news updates with Colt Sebastian Taylor. I don't see myself doing these every Tuesday unless AWSM Radio wants to hire me for millions of dollars. Then I'll do them every day. But until then, only when there's special occasions with big news over the weekend will I give you this special Tuesday news update. But before I go, just to remind you, we have some great shows here on AWSM Radio. For example, this coming weekend, you might need a musical soundtrack to your partying. Well, we've got you covered here, because on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, my pal DC, he is here. Fridays at 9 p.m., it's DC Live in Effect. You want to miss out while he smashes it on the ones and twos, kicking the beats from South Florida. Then on Saturdays, it's DC House Party Saturdays, where DC brings his freestyling DJ to the max. House Party Saturdays gives you all the Miami vibe without actually having to be there. From the top clubs to the bars, DC will bring the party to you. That's Saturdays at 10 p.m. And then, once again, Sundays at 10 p.m., it's DC Live in Effect. Then, my friends, on Wednesday nights, that's tomorrow, Wednesday nights, come here for all your sports needs, because it's at 9 p.m., it's To The Rack with Mac, your go-to spot for all things basketball. Join NBA expert Mac Daddy as he brings you a full hour of high-flying hoops expertise for all things NBA. Tune in Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Then on 10 p.m., it's What's Going On. It's our Fox Sports affiliate show, providing listeners with over 150 combined years of sports knowledge. Host Nate Brown and his crew brings their sports expertise for the last 2 decades. Now they're national. Now they're here. Wednesdays at 10 p.m. And then if you're driving home, my friends, you gotta listen to the Rock Sessions. It's our drive time show here, making sure your evening commute home is fun. Hosted by the amazing Rocks. She has the hottest music on the charts and some other surprises in between. She will make it rock styles, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And then, of course, it's the Saturday Report with Colt Sebastian Taylor and me, Saturdays at 11 a.m., repeating again at Sunday at 11 a.m. to catch up on all of the news you might have missed earlier in the week. Dare I say, the highest rating show on this network? I am, because I have no idea what the ratings are. I'm going to assume it is. So check out those shows. They're great. Support the station. And they're my favorites. They should be your favorites too. All right, well, my friends, thank you for joining me here today on this special Tuesday news update. Remember, you can find me on the Twitter, on the Instagram, on the Cameo at Colt S. Taylor, on twitch.tv/Colt S. Taylor, and then the podcast version of my show, including this one, can be found at anchor.fm/Colt S. Taylor. All right, my friends, until next time, I am, of course, your friend, Colt Sebastian Taylor, and I'll see you later. And thank you once again for joining me on this special podcast, special Tuesday night news update for me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, of the Saturday Report with Colt Sebastian Taylor on AWSM Radio. Can't say I'll be doing these too frequently, but when there's a big news story, I might just give you a Tuesday update. But in the meantime, check out the links below in this post, NordVPN for all of your computer protection needs, and of course for all your social media posting needs, check out socialbee.io. I'll catch you this Saturday on another edition of the Saturday Report with Colt Sebastian Taylor on AWSM Radio. Until then, have a good night.